Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ellen with blackfilm.com, and I'm joined by the Skylan Brooks, who stars in the new action thriller Archenemy. Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I can't complain. What side of the world are you?
I'm in LA currently right now.
Okay,
Home base.
gotcha. Nice. Not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
So I knew I was going to love this film after two specific scenes
Oh man.
which took place at the beginning. So the first scene was Max's walk slash limp as he
Mm.
crossed the street after scoring some drugs. There was something about that walk that just
Mhm.
felt official. The second scene is your character, Hamster's intro. The zoom in to your red sad face, happy face socks.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
And as you skateboarded down the street, it was a whole entire vibe. Like I knew,
Yeah.
okay, I'm about to get into this. And then down to the tattoo on your face, which was I was a little
Man.
taken aback by that, but it was kind of dope.
Yeah. It was that last one. But no, in order, trying to figure out the best way to explain everything. But would you how would you reword the question if I were to answer everything?
So honestly, it wasn't even a question. It was just a statement I wanted to make. I'm sorry.
So used to the question. Oh, yeah, no, like the most interesting thing about Hamster, like on top of the fact that he just looks so out of place where he's at. I mean, he feels like he's not supposed to be there and he wants to get out of there. But the most beautiful thing about Hamster that I like the most is that he's oh my god, I can't even say the word unapologetically. There we go. Himself,
Yes.
no matter what is going on around him. Hence the fiction tattoo, which was a cool respect to him. When I asked the director, I was like, what do you see that makes Hamster unique? And he was like, well, I have this meaning of him, or I have this representation of fiction, this tattoo on his face. And I was like, well, where do you want to place it? He goes, I want to place it right under his eye. I said, what? Why under his eye? What is that going to do? Like, what's the difference? He was like, because he's one thing about Hamster that everyone will see is that he's extremely reckless. But one thing about him is that he literally doesn't care what other people think. He is himself, and he'll go to any length to show it. So fiction right underneath his eye is a representation of his want to tell stories and make them reality for people to see and people to enjoy.
I totally got that. I totally got that. And in addition to reckless, I found Hamster to be extremely passionate.
Yeah, no, he is.
He believed in, like, it didn't even matter how insane or how out of the box it was. Like, if this kid wanted it to happen, like, it was going to happen.
oh yeah, he would stop at nothing, and he would never take anyone else's advice when it came to how he wanted to portray his story.
Yeah,
and I mean that's just an ode to what authenticity and like being yourself really is. It's like at the end of the day, we all take constructive criticism and you know we try to walk in our truth while also taking critique at the same time. But there's no perfect way to tell a story except what feels real to you. So I would say he is the perfect example of that.
And also an inspiration, honestly. And it doesn't even matter how old the viewer is that's watching this film. Like I walked away from that feeling like, wow,
man,
I can embody some of Hamster's characteristics and be okay.
and be okay.
And be okay. So Archenemy is not your traditional superhero movie. I mean, I found myself questioning, you know, Max Fist, was he a hero or a crazy schizophrenic? I wasn't quite sure. What did you think about the script and really your role when you first read it?
Oh man. When I first read it, my first question was, I really enjoy Hamster and I tried to picture myself as him. And yeah, it's not your traditional superhero film in the respect that like I feel like it's always depicted that the superhero wins in the end. It's this cliche one story after the next of, that, not all stories are about redemption, but I feel that this one kind of cuts on that a little bit more, where it shows the emotion of the superhero, and that he actually has, you know, he had powers to the point where he could do anything, and now you're stripped to absolutely zero, and there's no sure way of getting it back. So you're coping with this new reality that you never had before. So I feel like we actually get to see that journey and that evolution of him as a person who used to be looked at as a god almost, and now he's almost what you would consider a regular person or a peasant. But I mean, for me, that story and that progression is why I wanted to tell the story, was because it wasn't like everything else. Yeah. And Hampster is this ball of energy that represents so many things. And you have to really live up to that as the actor. You have to really be true to that. And I was just trying to make sure that I did, because as an actor, he's not exactly the character that I pictured myself playing, but I wanted to challenge myself and have fun with it. And, he smiles nonstop. He does not ever stop being in himself. So in his own little world. So I felt like that was a fun challenge to do. And I felt like this story needed to be told the right way, And
I think you did a really good job doing that, because Hampster is such an endearing character that you can't help but fall in love with him just for who he is as a young man. I mean, Hampster was pretty instrumental in reviving Max Fist, right? This fallen hero from another dimension. How did that sort of knowledge play a role in what you poured into your character?
Oh, that heavily influenced the entire story.
Yeah.
And along with rehearsals was me and Joe having to bond and actually really talk about the deeper meaning behind our characters. Mm. And it's Max Fist is inspired by the fact that someone believes him. And Hampster's the only person that actually gave it a thought to say, hey, you're more than just what everybody's talking about. Yeah. Blindly. And which is something that people are going to see, when they see Hampster, is that he charges straight ahead. No person on the street, no regular person would just walk and be like, I'm going to talk to that bum, just because, and he's punching a wall nonetheless with his bare hands. So it's he believes, I believe part of it is blind faith on Hampster's part, because he wants to see us. I wouldn't say it's on purpose selfish, but it's a little selfish for him to try to help push the story and push people to the point where it's I want to tell this story and I believe you're this and you're that. And also Max Fist is dealing with his reality. So it's I don't know. It's a very unique push and pull between both characters to kind of get them to tell their truths, but in a way where it's you're kind of acknowledging the fact that these people are human beings and that Max Fist does have feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. And it felt like all the main characters had their own agenda. So while the agenda was at the forefront, there was still this part of, connection with each character that made sense to me. I mean, your bond with Max felt incredibly genuine, right? And so I'm curious as to, what took place behind the scenes between you and Joe in order to bring that in front of the camera and make the viewer feel like, wow, they've known each other for decades. They just didn't meet, they know each other.
Part of that is our extreme diligence to the character. Also, if you're going to tell a story, it doesn't matter what you guys are going through on the outside. Actually, funny thing, we had rehearsals for about a month beforehand. So we really got to dive into the characters from start to finish. And we got to get a lot of kinks out the way of where our motivations were coming from. So that way, you know, it wasn't just sporadic and on the moment, and it didn't come across as just acting. But me and Joe did a lot of one-on-one sessions where we were just hashing it out and yelling at each other, and kind of in a sense, kind of theatrical in a sense, where it's very theater-based training. And I learned a lot about his background when it came to theater, and he's very intense, he's very focused, so he's able to pull that out at a magnitude where it's like he's pulling you into the scene. So I wanted to be there with him in that sense, where it's like we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But actually, the crazy thing is that while we were shooting, and a lot of new things were getting caught into the mix, you know, the elements of the street. You have the random here and there, you know, there weren't a lot of extras. There were just random people walking in the back and forth and watching. So we got a lot of random elements involved. But along with all that, I was actually sick while I was shooting the movie. Okay. And I was going back and forth to the hospital. I actually couldn't breathe at points. Like, I had to really pull it together. So when you say these things, I was literally felt like I was dying on set, and like I had chills, like I had fever. I couldn't breathe. So when you see me smiling and I'm laughing, and me and Joe are going back and forth, and we're literally almost yelling at the top of our lungs, and I look scared, I'm really like pulling every ounce of my being into this character. That way it's all very authentic and real, and you guys get to feel that, you know what I'm saying?
And we did.
Hopefully, yeah. Like, hopefully. But yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Accomplished, yes.
And you know, I'm sorry to hear that, you know, you were sick. It sounds like you're, you know, I don't know how long ago that was, but I'm glad that you are back.
Oh yeah. I'm much better.
Good.
Much better.
Good. So, you know, Hampster is a young man with a plan and a vision. And that became crystal clear to me after your character met up with Max. And then you envisioned the story, and we kind of saw like what you imagined the story would be in your head.
Yeah.
And so how do you, Skylan, identify with Hampster's ambition and passion? Like, were you pulling from your own resource to make that happen?
Surprisingly, I would say a lot of it was trying to see myself as Hampster at first. The process was actually, I'm not gonna lie, there was some doubt even through the auditioning process, because I tried to imagine myself with his energy. He has a lot of energy. He doesn't stop moving. He's always looking for the next thing. And for myself, I really feel like I kind of take a step back and really calculate and look at where I can use my strengths the best, and to get out of that focus, that mindset, and really bring it back to how to live in his world, in his reality.
Yeah.
And it required a lot of 24/7, like, okay, don't forget to smile, because he does everything with a smile. You know, like he's not even into himself. He exists in the world, and people get to see it's almost like he traps them in his bubble.
Yep.
You know, like he's that kind of guy. And I would say the most interesting thing about the process was that every time I felt like I was like actually going with another character, and then we had a scene together, it felt like I had to watch how I walked or watch how I stepped, because I realized if I walked as me, I didn't want to see myself on the screen. I didn't want to see Skylan in him too much. And I feel like where we kind of crossed the most is where I do feel passionate about the things that I do. And I want to bring that exact same intensity and make sure that I feel good about how I'm portraying Hampster. And if that comes across as the ambition, where he's energetic and he's very strong-willed in his sense to tell his story the way he wants to tell it, I want to feel that exact same way. And I want people to feel that too.
Nice. Well said. I got to give you props for your emotional transitions. The scene The scene that stands out to me, and that's a big deal in acting, like communicating emotion just on your face in order for me, a viewer, to feel it and connect to it. The scene that stands out to me is when Hampster loses faith in Mac's fist, considering you were the only person that believed him from the beginning. I'm curious about where your ability. I'm curious about where your ability to tap into emotional spaces stems from. Like, how do you do that?
Well, part of it is the truth for that is I have been doing this a long time. So part of it is the aspect of training in the mindset that's like part of it is the script, part of it is my own sense of feeling where it's like maybe this does need this. But actually in that scene, there's a scene where Hampster actually cries, and that wasn't it's not like a full-blown cry. It's just like it's tearing up. And if the tears, it wasn't even meant to be a full cry or anything, but if the tears fell naturally, then that was what it was supposed to be.
Right.
But that wasn't written in the script. That moment was not there. So when we had that actual scene, I felt that it was necessary and actually it was organic for Hampster to actually feel and show more emotion than what was there in the script, which was originally just he's there and he's watching, and Hampster is a non-violent person. He doesn't like or glorify any violence, hence why he's not technically superhero material, because he would involve having to beat the crap out of people and, you know, setting people straight. But, you know, it shows the innocence of him. It keeps the innocence of the fact that he's just growing up and he's getting to see the harsh reality of the world in front of him. And when he catches these bodies and Max Fist's, you know, brutalization of just his sense of violence, he's just like, it's so senseless to the point where I can't believe this is possible. Right. And he just, I felt that it was necessary for him to actually show emotion beyond just the sheer disbelief and just shed a little bit of some tears, because, you know, at the end of the day, if anybody can look at that and come out unscathed, like not scarred mentally, then they've probably been through something already where it's like, I'm jaded, right, but he's not jaded.
Yeah. I mean, it was that emotion and those tears that really made me feel Hampster's pain. So
yeah,
again, thumbs up.
Man, thank you.
And I mean, and speaking about, you know, kicking ass, your, you know, co-star Zoli Griggs plays your older sister, your big sister.
Yep.
You know, and she pleasantly surprised. So how did you guys prepare for this sibling relationship, which sometimes kind of felt parental, but there was a mutual respect for each other there?
Yeah, there was, we actually, in the rehearsals, we really went over the key pieces. I believe the movie was actually divided into arcs. So in a sense, you have the beginning where it's the introduction of everybody and what they do. And then you have the middle piece where it's, okay, now we're together. We all know what we're going to do. Now let's enact it. And now we have the third arc where it's like, these are the results of what we've done, the fruits of our labor. But in the beginning, we really went over the relationship between Hampster and Indigo, where it's you get to understand more about their background and their family, and that they don't really have anybody else. It's literally just them. So we wanted to really focus on the fact that she has to be the adult because of his childlike sense of thinking and way of moving about the world. And she feels it's a responsibility to be that authority figure for him. So that way he knows that it's more than just jumping around and going on his phone and being a millennial. You know, I do feel like, and it is actually in fact a part of the way that they move, that if it wasn't for her taking the lead and being able to have the responsibility to make sure that, hey, look, when there's a danger, you're not supposed to get involved mentality as Hampster, that creates the perfect mix of chaos and like solution.
Yeah.
Or no, better yet, resolution.
Okay.
So it's like with her, she's the authority, and because I'm the guy who really just wants to be who he wants to be, it kind of made this blend of like, well, what is the point of you doing any of this if you die?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Why are you doing this if you're just going to end up, just like everybody else that we're not trying to be like? So I feel like without the rehearsals and without the backstory that we had to kind of get into everything, it definitely would have been difficult. I don't think it would have came out the same way, for sure. And she's great. She's great. She had me cracking up the whole time. So it's like, as far as how all of our bonds are, it was actually extremely easy to get into character and go to work every day. It was fun.
And that bond again came across on screen. So it was truly a pleasure to watch this. So Archenemy, it comes out this Friday, December 11th, in theaters and on digital and on demand. What do you want viewers to know about Archenemy?
First and foremost, I feel like people are going to say, or when they see this, or before they see the movie, you're going to think it's about a superhero.
Right.
And it is and it isn't. But it's kind of more about showing the emotion behind the superhero and getting to see that journey of redemption without it. But then also on top of that, it's about friendship and trust. It's about a bond, and actually, without taking a chance and realizing where that can go and taking a leap of faith. I'm not going to lie. Like, sometimes taking a leap of faith in things that you aren't sure about can lead to an even greater love for whatever that you're going out for, So I would definitely say it's about trust, friendship, bond, and taking chances. Definitely.
Well said. Well said. I can't wait for the rest of the world to watch this movie. Thank you so much for talking to blackfilm.com. We appreciate it. And I look forward to future projects. I am going to have my cat eye out on you.
Ah, yes.
I thought you were dope in this. So all your other stuff that you've done. So I'm curious, to see your progression.
Well, I will leave you with this.
Please do.
I do have another sci-fi film.
Ooh, okay.
And it's called No Running. But I can at least say that.
Okay.
It's called No Running. But it's a great movie. I really can't wait for you to see that. I do have an EP coming out with music coming out later this month. So along with the movie, hopefully you guys, check me out. I'm out here. So, but no, like, I can't wait for you guys to see that next film. I'm super excited about it.
I can't wait for that, and I can't wait to hear the new music.
Yeah. My MC name is Sky 7. Sky 7.
Sky 7. That has a nice ring to it.
Some light.
Okay. And is it R&B? Is it a mixture? Is it like what genre are we talking here?
Man, we talking about everything. But for this EP specifically, it's like a hip hop jazz kind of fusion.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you singing, or you're rapping, or you sing rapping, or you're just doing a bunch of different things?
Sing, rapping, rap singing,
Okay.
Everything. I'm doing everything on here. And I got some really great talent, some good features on here too that you guys are gonna jam to. So I hope you enjoy that.
And when does the EP come out?
The EP is gonna come out later this month. I do have a music video coming out next week though.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so I can go on your IG because that's what I'm about to do. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go on there. I'll be dropping some teasers soon so people can get a headspace of some of that hip hop, some of the hip hop jazz.
Nice. Congratulations, Skylan.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
All right. Bye.